men are 3.5 times more likely to die by suicide. That's a keeping this bottled up behavior.
Yep.
You know, not to be reductionist about what suicide is, but
Right.
like that's a behavior that can happen when we are disconnected with our wounds, our hurts, our needs. Welcome to 3%. We're your hosts, Jamie Haig.
And I'm Blake Roberts.
We're two best friends, fathers, husbands, and just two guys trying to figure it out.
We're also therapists, which is probably a pretty important part.
That's true.
And we believe that at our best, people are 97% honest with themselves and others. And it's that hidden 3% of emotions, needs, desires, and behaviors that we keep to ourselves that keep us bound to shame and loneliness, from which many of our issues stem.
Each week on this podcast, we'll interview leaders in the fields of psychology, theology, arts, and athletics to explore holistic masculinity. We're not here to tell you the man you need to be, but we are here to help you explore what gets in the way of being the man you want to be.
We're going to help you develop courage and give you the tools to share your 3% in the relationships that matter most so you can more deeply connect with yourself, God, and others. So, pull up a chair.
Let's get into it.
So let's be honest. Let's be honest. Let's be honest.
All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the 3% podcast. We are laughing because Blake wanted to make an ASMR video, and it just sounds disgusting because he's eating on the mic. So welcome to how we're doing today.
Is it my cue that I get to do it?
No. Resist the intrusive thought. Stop.
It's so intrusive.
And oh my
That's
goodness.
it. I'm done.
Okay, fine. So last week, Blake very vulnerably told his story about his suicide attempt and how that felt to him and what he wished he had had and needed. And part of that is just a way to, what he needed was like a way to know himself more, to be connected to his emotions, because you can't really connect with other people in your emotions if you don't know what's going on within you. And I know we have talked about this before, but a lot of men that we work with, and this was true of ourselves, obviously from last week and from other stories you've heard from us, a lot of men just don't know what to do with our emotions. We either bottle them up, or we blow up, or numb out, or all three. In our case, I think
all three at once.
Yeah, all three at once. I think in our case, I can point it like directly at we met in 12-step recovery because we became really, really good at numbing out our emotions. That was laced with sarcasm for those of you listening and not watching my face. We developed really problematic behaviors in numbing out our emotions. And like I can think of many times in my marriage where I was working on, I even said it to Elizabeth just this morning. Elizabeth is my wife, for those of you who are newer to the podcast. But I was saying to Elizabeth just this morning, hey, I'm sorry, because I've been working on a resentment towards you this morning for some ways that I felt hurt by her. And instead of communicating those things, I'll give you some particularities. We have 2 kids, and in the morning we have to get both of those kids ready to go to daycare because both my wife and I work. And
which is never chaotic, just so those who don't have kids know.
It's just never chaos. They listen well. They are autonomous. Like, I don't even have to do anything for them.
Your wife walks in and she's like, I'm so grateful for the way that you help get them ready.
Sure. All of it is perfect. And so I don't even know why I'm talking about it right now. And the reality is like my kids are human beings with needs and emotions, and they don't work like robots like I want them to. And most of the time, my resentments towards my wife in parenting have nothing to do with her, but how I wish that she would care. She would do the things that I don't feel like doing in parenting, or like I'm exhausted by my kids. And so it's just like I wish that you would take care of me by particularly this morning it was like I I wished without asking for it that she would have helped me get some of the kids' morning snacks ready. And I didn't ask for it. I just wished that she would take care of me in it. And so that was boiling into a resentment. And she was like, "Hey, are we okay? I notice you seem a little tense." And I was like,
You're like, no, I don't.
yeah,
No.
I felt such the urge to blow up for sure. And that is my MO because there are parts of me that are still sliding down the slip and slide of emotional immaturity. And thankfully, this morning I was able to say, because of some of the growth that I found through this method and through connection with Blake and others, I was able to be like, "Hey, no, actually, I've been working on a resentment." Those are the words I used. I've been working on a resentment this morning instead of asking for help, and I'm sorry about that. Here's how I need more help in the
Bro.
future. Yeah.
Good for you.
Well, yeah, right.
And next
and
week,
good for
we'll
me.
talk about how Blake didn't catch it and just dove head first down the slip and slide and had a big crash.
Right. And next week that'll likely be my story too. This is day to
Progress,
day,
not
guys. Yeah,
perfection.
this is about progress, not perfection for sure. Today it went well, and I think that I hope the takeaway from that is actually thanks in large part to my wife's compassion for me in asking gently what's going on. And thank goodness God was kind enough to go, "Hey man, she cares." Not, "Hey man, you're failing because you're also doing something wrong on top of having a resentment." I don't actually take a whole lot of
Ugh.
credit for how that went. But what I'm getting at with that is like I think we haven't talked a full like episode or two about attachments yet, which we will do in the future, but a lot of our or all of our behaviors make sense in the context of our story. And so the way that I'm reacting to myself and to my kids and to Elizabeth all makes sense in the context of my story, and the way that I either bottle up, numb, or blow up also makes sense there. And I think part of that is learning to have a method to connect with what's actually going on within us rather than relying on those. We keep calling them slip and slides. What really it is like a neural pathway. The reason we
Yeah.
call it a slip and slide is because it's a lot easier to go down than it is to trudge a new path. Neural pathways have to be carved. And so this pause, pray, process, express method is really about giving you a practical tool to try something new. And in our experience, new is not equitable to perfect. And that's what we're trying
That's
to
good.
even talk about by laughing about it. But like today was progress for me. That's not what I do every time. But this method is helpful in making progress. So, Blake, I would love for you to give a little context on like why does creating a new, I know I just shared a story of why it matters for me, but like overall, why do you think it matters to be more connected to ourselves? I know we touched on that a little last week too.
So life is easier.
Right.
I mean, really, we're joking, but like it kind of did happen for me this morning where my wife just did everything wrong. No, I'm just kidding.
Right.
That's where I go though if I don't pause, pray, process. Like that's where I will go is
Mm-hmm.
not that I need. I mean, there is like expressing how you're impacted by somebody else and them taking accountable is real. But I can tend to overly rely on that sometimes because, you're saying makes sense in the context of your story. Like I grew up in an environment where there was not a lot of accountability taken, and there was a lot of pain on the other end of that. And so, back to your question of why is it important to know? It's important because if I don't, then I'm going to project my past into my present. So I'm going to project maybe some like frustrating or like unhealed wounds that I may have with my mom or with my dad or something. I may project them onto Shelly, my wife, because the way that she acted was similar to that. And so my nervous system feels the similarity. And it's funny, because the way that I respond to Shelly sometimes, which is like, can be really, sadly, like it could be mean and like very attacking, is not I don't think how I traditionally responded growing up. I more so withdrew, but it's like I will respond to her in a way that maybe I wish I could have responded then.
Yeah.
And so
Because
now
you
it's
feel
like
safe with her.
Mm-hmm. And so now I'm playing out something in the past that is really unfair to her. Maybe there's still things that I need to address with how she's acting and how that's impacting me, but I'm like doubling it by pulling this old stuff onto. And so if I'm not aware of that, then I'm literally, I jokingly said it makes life better, but really if I'm not aware of that and know what to do with it, I'm just going to like keep finding myself in this cycle that is keeping me stuck, feeling I'm still going to feel lonely. She's going to feel lonely.
Yeah.
Um,
A no-win
gonna
situation.
Yeah, I'm just spinning my wheels in mud.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, kind of like we were talking about last week, men are 3.5 times more likely to die by suicide. That's a keeping this bottled up behavior.
Yeah.
Not to be reductionist about what suicide is, but
Right.
like that's a behavior that can happen when we are disconnected with our wounds, our hurts, our needs. And like another stat that I think you wrote about it maybe in your epidemic of loneliness post on Substack. If you haven't read Blake's Substack, y'all should go read it. But I think you said it on there. It's like 1 in 5 men don't have a single close friend. Not one. And so compound that with what we've said before about how men were given like a box of 4 crayons and only like socially encouraged to use 2 of them.
Yeah.
And so then it becomes like I don't have anyone safe to talk to. I'm culturally encouraged to bottle this thing up.
Yeah.
Maybe in my family system, I've found myself in the place where I'm being encouraged to bottle this thing up, and I don't even know what I'm bottling up because I don't have the language to describe what's going on there. So I think from there, we have to take a number of steps to stop riding the slip and slide and start carving something new. And that's where we came up with this pause, pray, process, express method.
Let's break it down. Let's break down the framework.
Yeah, let's do it. So I'll just read it to you because I've got I think our PDF here. Not as pretty as Blake made it look really nice for our website. So y'all go download this. Why don't you pause? Go download this, and then you can read it along with us. Don't shake your head.
I can't.
Don't shake your head. That's a 2-kid dad joke. You gotta up your game, dude. You're on your way there. Okay, so here let me read you like the purpose of pause. Pause is so that we can slow down our nervous system. There's often what has happened in these slip and slides of our neural pathways is we have some sort of nervous system reaction, a fight, flight, freeze, or fawn reaction. And even if we don't feel that we are fully in threat, that might be what's taking over us, and then we're locked into one method of acting. So what we're doing with pause, even if you think about my example from this morning, I have like a freeze and a fawn response. It like shuts down for self-protection. Some of that's like a reaction to abuse. Some of it is trying to make myself just like not a burden in my family system growing up. But like that might be my reaction, is to internalize and shut it down and take care of myself. Well, if I can take a deep breath, if I can pause and I can take a deep breath and just go, what am I feeling right now? It gives me, it can help me diffuse from that emotion being who I am.
How do you know when you need to pause?
Yeah. So last week, Blake described it as like when you feel an emotion, right? If you're not watching, I'm raising my hands up slowly to my neck, but you feel this emotion rising in your body, and we'll notice it kind of like boiling at our neckline. Well, I would encourage you to learn curiosity about, like, maybe it's not just rising in your body, maybe it's actually living in your chest or your shoulders or your gut, or like some of this is noticing how your actual physical body responds to emotions, so you can learn what emotions live in what part of your body and become familiar with them. Similar to how, like, if you got a cut on your hand versus a cut on your foot, but you weren't familiar with what it felt like to feel something on your hand versus in your foot, you wouldn't know where that wound is. That's the purpose of getting familiar with where you hold emotions in your body, so you can know where the wound is.
Great analogy.
And so then if you can feel where your body is experiencing it, you can know that I'm about to act out of there. And that's where it's like, you don't have to fix that. We're just asking you to pause. Take a deep breath and ask yourself, because maybe you're not so familiar with where you feel that wound yet. And you can just ask yourself the simple but compassionate question of, what am I feeling right now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else you want to add to that?
I don't think so. I mean, we could, but I
Yeah.
think we can go to the next one.
Okay. And in that example from this morning, it really is like, my wife comes to ask me if there's something wrong. In that moment, my options are to, like I said, I wanted to blow up, or I can pause and I can ask why I want to blow up. I'm not even trying to pause and be like, here's exactly what's going on. I'm just trying to go, pause, why do I want to blow up?
It's so ironic that we have a very practical, here's how it can go well, and here's how it can go poorly example from the same morning of my wife also seeing my face and then saying, what's wrong? And I mean, I did what I do best, which is, first of all, lie. Nothing. I'm good. I'm fine. And then isolate. I didn't leave the room, but I like go in internally. And I know that. I know that of myself. So that's a good example of, like, I know that pattern, and I'm not shaming myself. I can give myself grace here, but.
Well, you did shame yourself. You said it's what you do best.
Okay, whatever. It's what I do most. It's what I.
It's a familiar pattern.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
It is, and I didn't pause, and so it was just like, we're off to the races, because I knew that, like, I had a reaction when she said what's wrong, and maybe I didn't even know fully what my reaction was, which that can, once we keep going down the framework here, that is what will help. But I can at least pause and go, something is going on. I don't even know what yet, but something is happening in me. And then that's when maybe the next step comes in.
Yeah, pray. And this one is like, I want to caveat this. I know that we have people listening who have been spiritually abused. And what I want you to know in this part is that we are not asking you to spiritually bypass what you are feeling.
Yeah.
We are, I know how that feels. I know how sometimes anything that is spiritual can feel like Christianese and abusive when you're coming from that place.
Mm-hmm.
And so I want you to take what works and leave the rest for now. And also know that this is intended to help heal a relationship that has historically been unhelpful to you.
Mm-hmm.
We want to give you a tangible way to invite God in a helpful way into where you are now. So this is where pray comes in. It's about grounding and inviting God into what you are experiencing. There's actually a guy I've been listening to a little bit lately. Shout out to my buddy Sam, who's a listener of the podcast, who sent me this series of sermons by a guy named Jamie Winship. This isn't about fixing your emotions, but a way that Jamie frames it up is asking God for what he wants you to know and what he wants you to do. So you can say something like, God, I am feeling anger, sadness, loneliness. Well, what do you want me to know about my anger, sadness, or loneliness? And what do you want me to do with it?
You're saying instead of jumping to, why am I feeling this way?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, or help me to not feel it. I think that's historically the prayer I would have is like, hey, this is what I'm experiencing. Please make this stop.
Yeah.
Hey, I feel like going and numbing out my emotions with porn. Please make this addiction go away. Instead of, what do you want me to know about this? What do you want me to do with this?
Yeah.
We're trying to shift some of the burden of holding all of this off of your shoulders and to invite God's care into it. Additionally, prayer neurobiologically is an incredible grounding method. So it will also help calm the amygdala response to whatever you are going through, which will calm the nervous system and slow your breathing, slow your heart rate, and it'll allow you to be more present into what you are feeling. So it's invitational, and it's, another point of like God's design is it's amazing that prayer is grounding. You know, that feels particular, doesn't it?
Yeah. Something that I've been, that is a prayer, is help me to be here now. Woo. I'll probably get those 3 words tattooed on me at some point, but I can so easily be in the past, kind of like I said, projecting, or in the future, but even just the simple prayer of help me to be here now, like in this literal moment, so that I can know what's real in this moment versus what is old. Help me to be in my own body and my own experience, so that I'm not, like we talked about last week, I'm not going back to old patterns of avoiding the here and now. That's been really helpful for me.
Yeah, for sure. What comes after prayer, Blake?
Process. So this could look like internally processing with yourself, and it can look like processing with somebody else. Kind of depends. It's situational. Here we're talking about self-regulation and co-regulation, which really just means when I'm dysregulated, I have and need the ability to be able to bring myself to a place of regulation. And then sometimes I need to rely on somebody else's nervous system to help me co-regulate when I'm dysregulated. And so this is like what this will look like for me sometimes in real time. If say I'm having like an argument with my wife or whatever, and where like I need to step away for a second. Like maybe I just need a little bit of space so that I can explore what's going on with me. I'm a big journaler, big advocate for journaling, or notes app on my phone or something, and just begin to just kind of notice the parts of me, notice what I'm experiencing. I feel like, for an example, like I feel angry and I feel lonely, and just beginning to write about that, like from that place of anger, or maybe I'm writing to my anger. Like I'm just processing, I'm letting out what is happening in me. And then there are moments where I can only do that with myself, or there are times where I need to process it with another person, so that, for a couple reasons. One, back to the self-regulation, or co-regulation. Two, sometimes it's hard for me to remind myself of what's true, and so processing the rawness of what I'm feeling with a safe person, helps me get that out of my system, gives them the chance to care for me, and then also to remind me of what's true. Sometimes I can't get there myself. And
like we say to each other, sometimes you're so deep in the bottle that you can't read the label anymore.
Right. And so even just like processing that with somebody, like I'm in the bottle and I can't read the label, like I need some help. Really, it's just you're asking for help and doing it in a little bit more of. So like the first two steps are, I would say, in like this inward turn, pausing to notice what's happening in me, going inward, praying like for God to help me see where He is in me or around me. And then the third and fourth, we're beginning to move outward, where we're processing, again, just with ourselves or with somebody else, what is coming up in step 1 and 2. Which, go ahead.
I think it's really important in the process part to, like, self-awareness is great. Self-regulation is going to be key relationally for you. And so in that processing part, going from like, here's what I'm feeling, processing why am I feeling that, and trying to understand what do I need based on what I'm feeling. Bringing your needs into relationship with others and not expecting them to, I'll go back to the scenario from this morning. What did I actually need? I needed care from my wife. How did I need that care? I needed it in the form of help with the kids in a specific way, and I wasn't asking for it. Well, that's me. Like, to get there, I had to go, I feel resentful of you. Why do I feel resentful? Well, I feel hurt that you don't see me as worth caring about. There's the real story. And then why do I feel like I'm not worth caring about? Well, because I needed you to care about me by helping me with the kids. Oh, I needed help with the kids. I need you to care. I need to ask for those things. That's the processing step for this morning for me. And sometimes it's about something completely different. Like you were saying, Blake, like it'll be like a feeling that you're bringing in from childhood. Or maybe like for those of you, Blake and I both have the benefit of working for ourselves, so we're not often angry about our bosses, even though we're angry at ourselves a lot. So I guess we are.
I get angry at my boss pretty often.
Right.
Dude,
but even like we've had times where we're angry at each other, and maybe we're bringing that anger at each other home and projecting it on our wives. Like, this processing part is really about understanding what do I need, and where is this emotion coming from, and how can I express what I need to help others care for me.
Yeah, I got a little ahead of myself. Really, the co-regulation is like step 4, which is the
Well, I co-regulate a lot in processing. Like, you journal more than me. You journal more than me. I used to think that I was an internal processor. I'm of the mind now that I don't know that internal processors effectively exist. But now I process through talking to others primarily. Because I will believe in there's this thing in 12-step that I'm not much, but I'm all I think about. And I suffer from that intensely, meaning if I'm alone with my thoughts, I will become resentful because I think I'm not worthwhile, but I will also think that I know what's best in a way to resolve a situation. And so I need to check both. The feelings of not being worthwhile are valid, but they need to be checked in with someone like Blake for me so that I can see then that I may not have clarity on how we got here or where it needs to go.
Yeah.
And that actually might be what's keeping me relationally stuck.
Yeah.
And that my internal processing was just me confirming my own biases about what I thought would be great in my relationships.
Yep.
So I don't think you were wrong about co-regulation being that early. I just think it's like what tool works for you.
Right.
Journaling is great. I've been doing more journaling lately, probably because Blake has been so encouraging in that way. But like the way I journal is through writing poetry and or songwriting. So journaling doesn't have to look the same for everybody either.
Right.
Blake's an incredible narrative writer, so he journals more that way. And so yeah, the processing part is really about get it out so that you can understand the context, where it's coming from, and so that you can dig down to what you need. And if you need help getting there, then the processing part needs to involve somebody else safe.
Yep. Also, your encouragement of my writing feels very good. Thank you. It's hard for me to believe that sometimes. So that feels, I'm receiving that.
Good. Yeah. I mean, I read your writing. I'm not blowing smoke. You know I wouldn't.
Okay. Yeah. Not that kind of smoke anyway.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know. That was lame. That was a one dad joke.
Yeah, you're working on it. You'll get there. Maybe in November.
I just said a one dad I need some lunch. All right. Number 4, express. So this is all about sharing the inner world with somebody else in a way that builds connection, with the intent on building connection. And by the way, this is not a super linear process. I think we kind of tried to make it in this way of like, this is what's helpful.
Yeah.
But it's not like you can only move to, I mean, there are sometimes I just jump to step 4 and I haven't paused, I haven't, done anything else, and that's okay. This is just to help provide some sort of framework as a jumping off point.
Just something to ground you in.
Yeah. This is where you're doing what Jamie talked about earlier. I think you talked about it earlier, where the situation with your wife this morning, when you then express to her, I've actually been feeling some resentment building up, and this is why. And so you're doing that, like you're expressing what was going on internally with the intent of building connection with yourself and with her. Yeah,
and acknowledging that the resentment part is actually mine to own. And that the need is something I needed to give away because I assumed she didn't want to care about it. And so, the expression part, we call it, I think in here, we call it the say it part of the way to express. Yeah, there it is. So you notice that the emotion or the need is related to one person. Blake and I often have this, and we call each other and we say, I need to share my 3% with you. So we're saying it to each other. Either it's a 3% about a conflict between us, or it's a 3% about here's something that I think will that you will reject me for, but it's causing this emotional reaction in me that's causing me to have like a numb out desire or a blow up desire. And so we call each other and we say, I need to share my 3% with you. And if you want to use that tool as a way to practice expression with others, I think there's very few ways that the 3% idea is more helpful than setting the stage for healthy emotional expression with
Yeah.
safety.
Yep.
And then one that I think is interesting and might feel counterintuitive to some of you listening based on what we've said so far, but we have move it listed as one of the ways to release or express in a healthy way. This could be like taking a walk, breathing, or working out. Because we've said
Breaking
like,
a stick against a tree.
yeah,
If it's anger.
yeah, chopping some wood.
Punching a stranger in the... Oh, wait, sorry.
Okay, wait, hold on. And we've talked about how you need to understand what you feel and what you need. Well, maybe what you feel is actually something that, we talked in the previous episode about metabolizing the emotions of other people.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe what you notice that you're feeling is the emotions of somebody else. This happens to Blake and I a lot because of our job, but it might also happen to you a lot because of your job or your family system or whatever, friendships, who knows? If you're noticing that, oh, I have just reached over that tennis court net and I have taken somebody's emotions and I've ingested them and metabolized them in my system, and now my whole body is being wrecked by them, you may need to express it by saying it or something like that. But actually what you may need is to just like dance that sucker off of you. People come into our offices and they anxiety dump or they depression dump on us. And that's like a cloak is how I describe it sometimes. I'll feel the cloak of their emotions. And I don't actually need to go tell Blake, hey, here's everything they're experiencing and here's what it brought up in me. Actually, sometimes all I need to do is legitimately put in my AirPods and put on a song and dance in my office. Or maybe I need to go home and I need to grab the dumbbells and I need to do a workout. Or I need to play, as my son Leo calls it, Bill's knocking down time. And I just need to wrestle with my son because I need to physically release that energy off of me.
So express is not just calmly talking about things.
It's not just calmly talking about things.
Yeah.
One of the ways
it can
that
be.
Blake, yeah, it can be. One of the ways that Blake already said it too is write it. I mean, like, whatever means that means for you, that's a way of processing, but maybe that's also a way that you just need to express it. Yeah. Some of the biggest moments of forgiveness in my life have come through letters I wrote to people that I didn't actually send.
And everybody thinks of one person they need to write a letter to and not send it to just then.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, these are...
And there's one more that I didn't mention. Do you want me to mention the last one?
One more step?
Well, it's part of express. It's one of the things we put. It's act on it. It's like sometimes you need a boundary. And, we talked, if you want to learn more about boundaries, go listen to our Emotions for Dummies Like Us episode. We talked a lot about boundaries in there, but sometimes you need to have a conversation, like a hard conversation with somebody. And sometimes you need to set a boundary because you're recognizing that someone's not honoring your needs in a way that you directly ask them to.
Yep.
But let's be clear, please go listen to that other episode if you don't know what we're talking about with boundaries, because boundaries are not something that you just expect somebody to do. It's also something you have to clearly communicate.
Yeah. Yeah, that episode really resonated with a lot of you. So start small. I mean, again, this is not like if you come to this and you're like, I want to try to use this framework, and you're approaching it with the intention of like, I need to do this right, you should pause right there. Because it's not about that. This is just a tool that you can use, think about, develop as your own, and just start with like one small doable step. Maybe for today, it's just pausing, like just taking the intentional moment to pause. Like, let's say you're listening to this it's going to come out Monday. You're listening to it Monday morning on the way to work. Let's say you don't finish it before you get there. You finish the rest on your drive home. I will literally do this, and it's a game changer. Sit in the driveway, turn the car off, pause. At least 5 minutes. If you need to tell your wife or your husband, if you're a woman listening to this, and you need to say, hey, I need 5 minutes when I get in the driveway, and I'm just going to sit there and like breathe and pause, do it. It's a game changer instead of just walking right into the house.
Yeah.
Maybe that's all. Maybe that's the step that you can take today. That's fine.
Yeah. Yeah. That's great. Yeah. We want for y'all to feel like you're doing this alongside us. Like, this is not something that we made because we're like, this is the right way, for sure. Like Blake said, this is not the right way to process your emotions. This is something we have noticed has helped us and that we do imperfectly, but we are making progress, and this is helping us make progress. So we hope that it can do the same for you.
So we're going to put a link in the show notes, and it'll just be a link that you can click on and put in your email, and then it'll send you the guide, and you can download it, print it off, whatever, and just have something to reference.
Yeah, and let us know if you come up with something that you think is helpful addition to that guide.
Yeah,
because this is a living document, and we want you to be this is a community for a reason. If there's something that's helpful that we can add and give to other people, we want to know about it.
Even if you can like figure out a way to change express into another P word, so then it could be 4 Ps, that would be sick.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's
I'm sure there's some fancy word that also means express that somebody's going to send us.
Pontificate.
Is that really a word?
That's really a word.
It sounds like, gosh, dude, like I feel so sick. I need to go pontificate. Bro.
Oh, man.
Well, that's a wrap.
Yeah. We're really thankful that you all are a part of this. I mean, 2 weeks ago we talked about the 6-month celebration episode, and yeah, we're still sitting in the gratitude of everything that y'all have done to help get the word out about this podcast. So keep sending it around. Keep sending these episodes to people that you want to connect with, or send it to people that you don't want to connect with.
Yeah. And keep showing up every Monday, because we got some banger guests coming out the rest of the fall.
Yeah, we do.
And some other exciting things that we'll be announcing. So stay tuned.
Yeah, we're glad you're here. Keep coming back. You're worth it.
Hey, thanks for tuning in to another episode. Listen, we're working on some really practical resources to help you connect more deeply with yourself and others. So if you head over to our website, 3percentco.com, you can learn more about that. The link will be in the show notes. And this is the part of the show where we ask you for some help. Listen, we don't have a big fancy production team. We're recording these in my therapy office in between sessions and in the margins of our life. We just really believe in the message that much. I listen to a lot of podcasts, and rarely would I take the time to review and rate a show, just because honestly, I forgot. It wasn't until we started doing this show that I realized doing that actually really does help these platforms notice our show and get the word out. And so if any of this is impactful to you, we would love it if you took a second to leave us a review, rate us, or if you want to just do it the old-fashioned way, text this link to a friend and say, hey, let's talk about this episode. Whatever you do, make sure to follow us on whatever platform you're listening to so you never miss an episode. We're really grateful you're here, and we'll see you next week.
So let's be honest.